With the release of the colorized cut-down version of the 1960s Doctor Who Second Doctor serial The War Games, did we finally get some confirmation on a long-held fan theory? Let's talk about it. Hello, welcome to Culture Filter. I am Phil, and this is where I talk about all the geeky pop culture that I like and consume, including a lot about Doctor Who. So if you are a Doctor Who fan, you'll find lots of content here if you just want to click on the subscribe button down below. Now let's quickly get to the subject matter of this video, because last night I watched the brand new colorized cut-down version of The War Games, the 1960s serial that saw the departure of Patrick Troughton in the lead role at the end of the story. And there is a long-held fan theory that kind of got confirmed a little bit, sort of. We'll talk about it. That theory revolves around the character of the War Chief, who is revealed in the plot to be a member of the Doctor's race, who is helping another race run their war games using his TARDIS technology that he has stolen from his home planet, which we know as Gallifrey, but is never named in this story. Now, for years there has been fan theories floating around that this character is actually an earlier incarnation of the Master. I think largely due to the beard. It's not a lot to go on, but the fan theory started there, I think. The fan theory started with the beard. But with the release of this latest colorization, there's a new addition to the story that gives us a little bit more towards that fan theory. It's subtle, it is absolutely not definitive, and could be taken in many ways. You can take it or leave it, but it is there, and that is the music. Now, I have to hold my hands up here. I completely missed this on my own rewatch, and it was only sort of scrolling through Twitter and Blue Sky later on that I encountered people talking about this, and I was like, oh, I completely missed that, and I imagine some other people did too. But when the War Chief first comes on, and I think at maybe some other occasions as well, in the new music they have used in this particular new version of the story, they play some of the Master's theme music. Particularly, the one I heard a clip of was using a bit of the Saxon Master theme underneath when he first comes out. And I believe I heard somebody mention that they use a bit of music used under Roger Delgado's Master as well in the original classic series, under some other bits. So yeah, that's kind of a big hint that this is indeed a proto-version of the Master. Now, funnily enough, my wife was in the room while I was watching this, and she wasn't particularly paying much attention. She was doing something else, and she hasn't really watched much classic Who. She's watched a fair amount of modern Who, but not really classic Who at all, and she's not really into Doctor Who in the way I am, certainly. She just kind of casually watches it. She's a casual viewer of the current iteration of the modern series, and she certainly wouldn't have recognised music cues. But one thing she did say when she looked up at one point and saw the War Chief was, "Is that the Master?" And that was before any reveal that he was a member of the Doctor's race, without any knowledge of the music particularly. She just looked at him and assumed he was the Master. Again, I think largely due to the beard, but it's interesting. So if somebody very casual just glances at this person and sees the Master, you can see where these fan theories have come from. Now, it's not without its flaws, of course. There are, questions about, well, why do they not acknowledge each other? They kind of acknowledge each other as members of their own race, and people have picked up on looks between the two that may indicate more, but there's nothing there that absolutely definitive. You think they'd talk like they were old friends if that was a version of the Master. Now, obviously, they hadn't devised the Master in their heads at this point, but retroactively, it doesn't quite work fully. But quite clearly, the makers of this particular version wanted to add that in as a little hint, a little kind of like, hey, maybe it is the Master. It's not absolutely confirmed, but it absolutely does lend a kind of validity to that fan theory somewhat. What do you think? Have you seen the new version of the War Games, and do you think that the War Chief is the Master? Do you like that fan theory, or do you really hate it and want him to be a completely different Time Lord? Let me know in the comments below. I'm working on a review of the new version of the War Games, which, if it's out already, I will leave on the end screen here, and if it's not out already by the time you watch this, then there will be another video there that I suggest you might be interested in.